Doesn't really fit in the frame. Yeah, so hey everyone. I have had something on my mind for like 2 years now that I kind of just wanted to sit in front of a camera and kind of just like talk about. I don't have like completely fleshed out thoughts on this topic, so I thought maybe I'll just put it out there, see what anyone has to say in response. And my channel, if you've seen any of my other videos, is kind of like cancer based. I guess I'm like a cancer channel. Hopefully not a cancerous channel, but a cancer channel. But I don't want my videos to only be applicable to people who have cancer. Of course, I hope that they are useful for people who find themselves in those situations like me. But I also want them to be for people in general, because even if you don't have cancer, even if you don't have a terminal illness, death is something that all of us have in common, and something that none of us really talk about, and that we kind of talk about in ways that I find funny only because now I am sick. So don't take that the wrong way, but I just have a little bit of a different perspective on it now than I used to. So today I want to talk about the idea of bucket lists. If you don't know what a bucket list is, it's a list of items or activities or places or literally anything you want, things you want to do or complete or see. I have cat hair on my face before you die. I think we're all familiar with this concept, and I have a few ideas about it. The first thing I want to say is I do not care what you do. Please do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. Don't do or don't do anything because I say something or someone else says something. Just do what you want, okay? This video is just my opinions, my ideas on this concept of bucket lists. I don't care what is on your bucket list if you do or don't have one, all right? Just want to say that and put that out there. Please live your life the way you want to, okay? But the one thing that I find funny about bucket lists, and I guess this applies to just maybe people in general, not necessarily like bucket lists specifically, is that they're kind of treated like something, at least the way people talk about them. Oh, I'll add it on the bucket list. Oh, another thing to add to the bucket list. Like even just today, I was like scrolling on Facebook and I saw someone, I don't even know what it was. It was like some beautiful travel destination. Like, oh, another thing to add to the bucket list. Like that's cute and all. Like I think it's nice to kind of have an idea of things you want to do and places you want to go and things you want to see. Like that's awesome. Like I think we all kind of are doing that just all the time. Like when we see something like, oh, that looks really fun. I want to try that someday. But it's kind of like the way it's so nonchalantly talked about is like, oh, add it to the bucket list. Like, how many people actually write this thing down, first of all? And second of all, how many people actually like come back to that thing that they said that they would put on the bucket list and do it? I have not really seen this happen. Now, I do remember like a year or two ago, there was a boy who had, I forget what type of cancer, but he had terminal cancer, and him and his friend, they were on like the H3 podcast fundraising money. He had some kind of, it was related to bone marrow, I think. But anyway, they had a bucket list and their dream was to get enough money together to have him complete everything on his bucket list before he unfortunately ends up passing from his cancer, which I don't want to say seems likely because I don't know his situation, but unless he finds that bone marrow transplant, it's not looking so well for him. And I thought that that was kind of an interesting way to raise awareness about his situation, and if that's the way that he wants to go through what could be the last few years of his life, I think that's great for him. But a lot of people who aren't sick, I have seen just say like, oh, add it to the bucket list. And I think this is comparable to when people say like, oh, someday I'm going to go to wherever when I retire. They save up till they retire, they're old, maybe they become sick, maybe they can't move around as well, and they can't really enjoy or don't end up going on that vacation as well as they could have before. This idea of people kind of just putting things off that they actually want to do so that they continue now working and doing whatever they need to do, and someday they'll be able to do what they want. Now, don't get me wrong, some people really do have to work that grind and they don't have a choice. But another thing that I've noticed about these types of items that go on bucket lists is that they're kind of this like idealized concepts of like what living your life means. So like to say like, oh, traveling to like the Bahamas is on my bucket list. Like that's sure, that's fine. And I know that the people who end up actually being able to go to the Bahamas, there's some kind of like privilege or luck there. Like not everyone is able to save money. Not everyone even lives in a country where they're able to save money to do something like that. And if your dream is to go to the Bahamas, that's great. Please go to the Bahamas. But I don't like this idea that unless you're doing something like going to the Bahamas, like you're not like living, like the thing on your bucket list, that's not really a bucket list item. Like the things I see on people's bucket lists, I mean, we've all seen it, like skydiving, traveling to some destination, swimming with dolphins, diving in caves, like things that are like, yeah, that would be freaking awesome to experience. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to do all of those things. But there are always these like really extravagant, exotic, expensive things that people feel like that's on my bucket list. I want to do that before I die. And I kind of see a lot of people putting the same types of things on their bucket list. Don't get me wrong, some people put some unique, interesting things on there, but a lot of the times it's these kinds of things. And the thing that I don't like about those types of things is not that people want to do them. That's great. Do what you want. But that does not like define what like living your life is. Traveling is great. Doing outdoor activities is great. But that's not like what life means to everyone. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. But what I've found after I've gotten sick is like a lot of the small things are actually like what mean a bit more to me than like, I do travel quite a bit because I have a lot of holidays as a teacher, but I don't feel like when I travel I'm knocking off like a bucket list item. There's a lot of other small things that I really wish I could do. And I feel like some of the things I see on people's bucket lists aren't things they actually want to do. It's maybe something they feel like they should want to do in order to like live life to the fullest. And I think that kind of, I don't want to say pressure, because I don't think anyone's pressuring people to think like that. I think it's just kind of like a result of people talking like this about bucket lists. I think it's kind of sad and keeps people from thinking about maybe what they actually want to do. And like I remember when I got cancer and I was talking to one of my friends who's like, oh, if I found out I had cancer, I would want to have a baby like right away. And that was interesting to me because as someone who has cancer, that's something, that idea I struggle with quite a bit. And so since that person doesn't have cancer, it's a little bit hard for them to, of course, put themselves in my shoes and think about that. But that was like an example of something, yeah, family is important. And to some people that is life. To some people who find out they're not going to live forever, I mean, no one thinks that, but you know what I mean. They do just want to spend time with their family. Some people just want to go outside, go to the park, see some beautiful scenery, enjoy spending time with their friends. These things, I think, we all know are the things that really matter in life, but we don't see anyone putting those things on their bucket list because this idea of a bucket list is like very, I keep saying extravagant, but I don't know what other word to say. Perhaps things that don't actually really matter to someone. Like, this is a bit of an exaggerated hypothetical situation, but say you had like a week to live. Are you really going to go skydiving? Some people, yeah, but a lot of people, I think not. So yeah, I think a lot of the things on the bucket list end up being this like made up idea of what living means. And they're not actual things people want to do. For me, things that I have on my bucket list are like one thing I keep saying I really want to do is like, I really want to see Swan Lake. Like, I just really want to see a ballet. Like, that would just be awesome. And yeah, tickets aren't cheap, but like, that's something you can do in a lot of different places that a lot of my life I never even thought about. Like, probably Swan Lake was being performed when I was living in New York City, and I never was like, oh, I'm gonna go see Swan Lake. But now, that's something that like, I'm always looking for tickets because I really want to go see that. And that brings me to my next point that I discussed a little bit earlier. These things that people put on their bucket lists end up getting pushed off for a long time. And I think that's sad. If you want to do something, and you can, and you have the ability, and you have the time, and you have the health and the resources, just do it now. Your bucket list doesn't need to wait until you have like time and money later on in life. There's small things you could do all the time. Just do it. I'm channeling my inner Shia LaBeouf here, but people say things to me like, oh, you're so lucky that you can do this or do that. And yeah, there's some truth to that. Of course, there's privilege involved in everything that all of us do. But it's not like I have millions of dollars sitting around that I'm traveling off of. Like, I travel and then I have to like budget for a long time. The difference between me and someone else is that I just do it. I just do it. I make it work. And sometimes, yeah, I'm a little stressed out financially, but I want to do it, so I just do it. I just make it work. And I don't know, it just makes me happy. And when people say like, oh, I wish I could do that. If there's someone in a similar situation as me, in terms of job and whatever, I say just do it. People say, oh, I can't. Yes, you can. You don't have to put it on your bucket list. There's small things you could do every day that probably mean a lot to you and would make you really happy and glad that you did it. But a lot of people kind of put off the things they really want to do. There's so many times when I see people, like, you see it all the time with friends, like when I play soccer, people are like, yeah, I really want to play soccer, and then the day comes and they just don't want to get out of bed. Little things like that, that if we just actually do it, I think will make a big difference in not only our happiness, but the way that we perceive life and bucket lists in general. So yeah, all I want to say about that, I guess, is if there's something you really want to do, and you want to do it like truly for yourself, and not because someone else made you feel like this is the thing to do to live your life, just do it. If you have the means, just do it, please. If not for me, then for you. Or at least just for you. Yeah, don't do anything for me. Do it for you. And just don't judge anyone else for what they put on their bucket list. I know I kind of probably sounded a bit judgy earlier, but again, if you want to go to the Bahamas, go to the Bahamas. Okay, I'm not judging anyone for wanting to go skydiving. That's awesome. But just do it because you want to. And don't do it because someone else made you feel like you should. And don't judge anyone else for what they have on their bucket list. Even if their bucket list item is to watch every single thing on Netflix without leaving their house. Let them do it. And that sounds awesome too. That sounds equally as awesome as going to the Bahamas. Let's be honest. So that's all I had to say about that. I hope my ideas came out clearly, because I'm just like BSing this right now. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say. Thanks!